Hey, everybody, how are you? Welcome to Into the Core podcast with myself, Linda. And as always, every Thursday, coming in with somebody beautiful, new, somebody inspiring, somebody who's going to teach you something, hopefully, take something away. And today, I am going to introduce my guest. Her name is Penny. But before we hear a little bit from Penny, I got to do my intro. So let's get into it.
Into the core.
Get into it.
All good things in Africa and beyond. Into the core.
Get into it.
Into the core.
Get into it.
All good things in Africa and beyond.
Right. So, as mentioned, I have an amazing guest. She's got a summit coming up this Monday. Well, it starts on Monday. But beyond her having this amazing summit that is based around parents and their pets. Yes, I did say pets. So, parents and their pets. I want to introduce Penny. Penny, welcome to Into the Core podcast.
Linda, thank you. It's so exciting to be here. I'm delighted to be able to have the opportunity to just share a little bit with your audience. So thank you.
You're most welcome anytime. So I want you to just give a small little brief intro as to what Penny, Dr. Zoolittle does and your background so that everybody understands where this beautiful passion of yours comes from.
Thank you. So my love of animals started before I can even remember. They're my earliest memory and my biggest love all the way through. And I was 5 when I decided that I was going to have a career helping wild animals have better relationships with humans and to have all their needs fulfilled. It was a welfare thing right from the very start, but it was relationship based. I didn't want to do it from great distances afar. So I trained and studied and did animal behavior and neuroscience and things like that to understand the animals, understand their point of view, understand what their sensory perspectives and information about the world was, but who they are as individuals and what they need and how we can help provide that. And then I took that into the zoo environment to help improve the captive conditions of animals. We give them amazing things in the zoo, in the captivity. We provide their food, we do lots of cleaning for them, we give them toys and games, but at the same time, there is a cost involved. They're no longer free to make all their own decisions. And this was something that I needed to I felt I needed to bring into the environment to give them everything that I thought they deserved. And while I was doing that as this role of the cognitive ethologist and animal welfare scientist, I began to see the other side of the coin. So I was working very much in the animals' mental health and their sensory experience of the world, how they were relating to things and people. But I hadn't really looked at the health side of it. And I started to see that sometimes there are health issues that if you don't address, then you can't move further up the pyramid to solve the psychological issues. And just think about that. It makes sense, because if you're in a lot of pain or if you're really feeling rubbish because you're sick, then you don't want to socialize. You don't feel like going out and doing things. You're not in a great mood. You may not want to just interact with the world the way you would when you're feeling fit and healthy. So it made sense. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it took me that long to figure it out. So then I thought, well, do I go and become a vet? And I looked at what really vets are studying, and I thought, that doesn't quite sit right with me. And then I began to see more deeply into the problem where what we're doing for our animals with the very best of intentions, whether we're a pet parent looking after our own animals or whether we're vets and keepers and things in the zoo, we're coming to that through our lens, our perspective, what's comfortable for us and what we think is great. And so we think, oh my gosh, you've got a problem, you better have a pill to fix it. And the problem is that the pill doesn't fix it. And the problem is when you're working with all these different species across the zoo or the wildlife rescue environment, those medicines haven't been tested for all the animals. Whereas the animals in the wild who don't have the quote unquote benefit of a vet or getting
Yeah.
themselves well from things that they're encountering. So I began a journey to go and find out what is it that animals need from us while they're under our care to have that same optimized health as the animals in the wild. Why are they not getting sick and dying from the diseases that our ones in captivity are? And so that is my sort of not so very short, quick story of how I got
Oh,
into
that's
regenerative and functional medicine as well for animals, as well as the psychology.
okay. So, while we were speaking the other day, I love the fact that, when you're looking at the psychology, you're trying to think of how to extend life for both the parent and the animal or the pet. Is it possible you could just kind of elaborate or go deeper into that as to possibly what are we as parents, to the animals, or to our family members? What are we doing that is wrong, or how can we correct that? Yeah, so let's just talk about basically, how to extend their lives, and how, we as parents will kind of take a look at it. So, because it works both ways.
It really does. What I found when I was addressing the issues of why do wild animals stay healthier from the chronic diseases and why do zoo animals and our pets get these diseases, I discovered the root cause. And there's always a reason why something happens. Things don't just spontaneously come out of nowhere. There's always a reason.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing was that the same mechanical, biological reason that causes those diseases is the same function that causes the aging process. And aging, or how long you live, is one of the measures of animal welfare. It's one of the measures of human society success, is what is the lifespan average of this nation. And so if you're having a really shortened life, you're not having the full opportunity that someone else who's living maybe 30 years longer has. Or if you're a dog, for example, if a dog is living 5 years longer, your life is being cut short. So
Yeah.
understanding the mechanism, maybe start to dig into then longevity science and what do bodies need. Now, I'm talking about mammals. I think birds and reptiles and things are a little different. I can't really speak to that. But certainly for mammals, what is it that makes aging happen? And therefore that decline that we're so used to associating with being older, there's limitations on the body, or there's limitations now on levels of freedom that you might have had when you were younger. And that doesn't need to be the case. And this was the big kind of, oh my goodness, right? Aging is almost optional. Yes, of course, you're going to get older. You're going to have more birthdays. But in terms of that sort of decline into illness and decrepitude, that's pretty much optional. So if only we knew what to do, right? Because, of course, who doesn't want that? And who doesn't want that for their children? And who doesn't want that for their fur kids, if you're lucky enough to have pets as well? So
Yeah.
if you address that root cause, you solve all the downstream problems. It's almost too good to be true. This stuff, it becomes far more simple than you would imagine. So then I researched into, okay, well, how are the ways that we're getting it wrong at the moment, and what can we change it? And they're incredibly easy and familiar things to us already. So there's no great leap of, oh, I've got to go and study for 5 years now or whatever. We already know that food and exercise and access to the natural environment, having a strong microbiome, detoxing out the things that we don't want, having a good hormonal balance and the right amount of sleep, all of these factors that we know about, that's what we talk about when you talk about health. This is what keeps you alive, keeps you safe, and keeps you living longer, younger, so let's pay a bit more attention. So you really just want to exchange what you're currently doing, which is probably not terrible, but it's not the best either. There's a difference between surviving, being alive, functionally you're alive, but not really having that fullness thing, versus thriving, where you are on fire. You wake up with energy every day. You're excited about what you're going to do. You feel great. So that's what we're talking about. And the more you live like that, the longer you will live. If they just go together, there's no escaping it. You get one victory, well, you get 2 for 1.
Yeah, definitely not functioning, but thriving is basically what we're all supposed to be aiming towards. So yeah, I I'm with you on that one. Because I was just thinking about, you're talking about exercise. I'm terrible. Um, Eating healthy, it depends on the day. um, what else did you say? Sleep.
Access to the natural environment, being
Okay,
outside.
natural environment. Being outside, yes. Okay, so which is really beautiful because I'm lucky that well, right now I'm in Nairobi and it's very cold. But okay, it's a beautiful day today, but it's cold and it's cold here, in this particular house. But my mom's gonna kill me. But but where I live, which is Beach City, it's beautiful, so you're always outside, you're always walking, you're never stuck inside. You never want to be inside anyway. But, I was just thinking about sleep, and probably diet for me is probably one of the things that, I would need to switch around. But okay, so then how does that connect then with our pets? So if we're thriving, then it means that our pets thrive.
Well, that we can certainly do that. It's not necessarily the default system, because we are very comfortable to say, oh, do you know what? I can't be bothered cooking. I'll just have this processed, already prepared meal or a takeaway or something like that. Okay, and realistically, certainly in the United States and the UK, that convenience idea about pet food is what is the standard. It's like, okay, we feed our pets. Let's get that packet off the cupboard shelf and pour those dry kibbly things into a bowl, and it's job done. It takes you 5 minutes, and you didn't have to plan a meal, you didn't have to prep anything, you didn't have, And also on the other side, the cat and the dog didn't have to do any work for that. In the wild, they would have to go and work for their food. That would take them maybe all day. Sometimes cooperative hunting to bring down a particularly large prey animal. Or if you're a solitary cat, you might be just having to pounce on 8 mice to have your, that takes work. We take all the work out of it for our pets and say, here you go, it's all presented in a bowl. But is it really the best appropriate food? And the answer in most cases is no, it's not. The best appropriate species correct food for our cats and dogs is raw food. It's what the cats in the wild eat, the leopards, the cheetahs, right? Even the little cats, right? The servals, they're all eating their dinner cold and raw. Same with the wolves, the jackals, the coyotes. Everybody's having their meat raw, and they're having meat. They're not having biscuits, and they're not having a great big plate of salad. So that's one of the biggest drivers in keeping them alive and fit and healthy and strong, with good muscle mass and vitality and endurance and clean teeth and all the things that confer health and therefore longevity. But we're not giving that to our pets. We're loving them and we're blessing them by feeding them, but we're not choosing the best thing. So you're keeping them alive, absolutely. But are you allowing them to thrive? Are you setting them up to have their full life expectancy? And we don't even know what that is in most cases, right? If you ask most pet parents, how long should the dog live for? They'll go, oh, well, and give you a number. But dogs are making it into their late 20s. Their late 20s in human years, when they're fed the right foods, when they're given outdoor access and all the other things that I talk about. The average age of a dog at death in the UK now is only 10.4 years. Right? Wow. That is not even close to 28 or 27 or even 25 or 22. This is half their lifespan. We've cut it in half. So yes, they're alive, but they're not getting their full lifespan and they're not thriving.
Wow. That's so interesting, because I'm just wondering, like, how many people would, you're used to the kibbles and bits and all that great stuff, and you're used to presenting their biscuits in a bowl, but then how comfortable do you feel that people would be how would they transition into just giving their cats raw food if the pets haven't been used to feeding raw? Is there a way to kind of introduce that? Is it that you kind of mix it with the biscuits first, like the raw meat, and then after that kind of start, reducing, or how,
so there's a couple of points. There's a couple of points to sort of expand on that a little bit, and that is that their biology, their species biology, is the same as what it was when they were wild, even though their brain and behavior has changed through domestication. So from a physical point of view, they're ready and able and gung-ho to eat that raw diet or that whole food diet. It doesn't even have to be raw. Raw is best. But if you've got your table scraps left over dinner and all that, that's perfect. That is so far superior to having a plate of kibble or a can of, commercial dog food, which is highly, highly processed with no nutrients left in it from the cooking process. And it's just junk food. It really is nothing but junk food. So so dogs are typically pretty ready to transition it over into raw food or cooked food or table scraps or whatever you have. They take that pretty much in their stride. Cats are more of a specialist species. They're more finely tuned in a lot of ways. And so they're by nature going to be a little bit more suspicious of things because they've got less margin of error to make a mistake. Dogs have got a lot of tolerance levels to go, okay, well, that didn't work out. I'll just throw up and it's fine. Cats are a little bit more fine tuned. So they'll be a bit more suspicious. So then you want to maybe take time to introduce. And so you use a plate that has 75% of their old food and 25% of their new. And after they settle into that, you can watch them. What are they eating first in the bowl? If they're eating their old food first, then you want to keep going slow. If they go straight to the new food and gobble that all down, then you can say, okay, let's speed this process up. And tomorrow I'll give you 50-50. And the day after that, it might be 75-25 the other way. And then, less than a week, you're over. But if they're still being a bit picky, just take that time. Yeah. It might take you 3 weeks, but that doesn't matter because you're going in the right direction every single mealtime. Now, the way to overcome that and have an instant solving of the problem is when they're puppies and kittens, introduce them to all the different foods and flavors, textures and smells. Because if they're introduced to them when they're young, they remember that for life and they never have a phobia or an anxiety about approaching those other things as food. So there's a couple of things to fast track. If you have a young animal, you can fast track them through that process. Usually in the 8 to 16 week of age period for dogs, and it's a little earlier in cats. But you have this sort of window of critical moments where they can just learn everything, and then they'll carry that forward through their entire life without having any problem with food.
Wow. Well, had to stress on the raw so that people understand that, that's basically, that's their instinct. Like you said, it's the perfect way for them to go. Can you talk to me? You told me about this beautiful model of trying to get your pets, part of, there's the food and then there's the emotional, just to expand on that longevity. Can you just go through, I think, was it 8? There were 8. Were they 8? There were 8.
From my research into all the different types of modalities and different approaches, what does and doesn't work, I boiled it down because it's no good looking at 1,000 things. No one can concentrate on that much. It takes too long. Yeah. So I boiled it down and I have what I call the 8 facets of juvenescence. And juvenescence is the science of being young or feeling young and vital, So these are 8 facets to the same question. And so food is the first one of those because it's so foundational. You think about any other machine or car or whatever, if you put the wrong fuel in, you won't get the performance out the other end. So you have to put the right food in for you to have that optimized response. And the same with pets. So food in is a major deal. The need to actually think about your water. We take water so much for granted because it's just, well, of course we drink some water. But it's certainly over in the UK and the United States, there's a lot of pollutants in the water. There's a lot of plastic in the water. There's a lot of pharmaceutical in the water. There's chlorine, there's fluoride, and pets don't want any of that. So even if you did nothing else but filter your water with an inexpensive jug that you can get, that's already making a massive difference because you think about how much water is being ingested and that you do it every single day. That has a big effect. So filter your water. If you can go to the higher level filter, even better. If you can go to some kind of a machine that you can buy that will structure the water or add hydrogen into it, so there's more hydrogen molecules in the water, then that's even better again. And these are the types of waters that are found in fruits and vegetables, which is one of the reasons why they're such a healthy food for us to be eating, because they have this is different kinds of water. So water is one, air is another one, air quality. The air quality of an inside property is far more toxic than outside air. So again, if we're spending all our time and our pets are spending their time inside, especially if they're in close contact with where these chemicals and things are, then that's not doing them any favors. So we think about the cleaning products that we use. Are they full of toxic chemicals or are they clean? Have you covered your sofas and things with Scotch guarding or fire repellent materials? These are very, very damaging to our pets. And you think about it, because the pet will lie right on top of it. Their nose is right next to that. They're breathing that in the whole time they're asleep. Massive toxic load. Whereas if they slept on either a cotton or something organic, that wouldn't be a problem. Or if they slept, had a little sleep on a pile of soft straw outside. I'm not saying make them sleep overnight outside, but I'm just saying there are alternative ways where you can sleep where you actually get health benefits as opposed to some. So there's so many details that we just need to tweak that little bit. Just know one thing, and then you change your mind and choose a better option. You're going to start heading into the late teens, the early 20s, and absolutely transform their quality of life.
That's brilliant. I mean, I never even thought about the cleaning products and versus what they're lying, what they're lying on and how that actually affects their life. So, maybe during the day, their quality is really brilliant because they're outside, and then at night they're inside, but then what they're sleeping on also determines their longevity. Oh my gosh. Okay. So with regards to the modules that you found, so you've named 3 of them. What do you think is the most important out of all of them?
There's the 8 pillars, there's 8 facets, as I said. Then there's the overriding principle, and the overriding principle is in, out, and optimize. So think about what's going into the body, think about what needs to come out of the body, and then think about ways that we can optimize the cells to have the top ability of the functioning so that thriving happens. So I would say that the biggest 2 of those 8 then are the food, because that's the primary thing that's going in. Of course, air is going in as well, and water is going in. But food is, if the wrong food is way more damaging than the wrong water. It's best to change the food if you can, but the food is the really, really, really big one. So that's the in, and then the out is just as big. So detoxing out of the system what has accumulated over time. And so the older your pet is, or the older you are, the more you will have that build up, unless you've had a regime of regular detoxing protocols and so on. And some people have, but many of us don't, because we think, oh, I'm doing just fine. I don't have diseases and symptoms. There mustn't be a problem. But it's that thing where it builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up. And then finally you get to the point where, poof, all these symptoms suddenly appear. And you think, gosh, if only I knew about that 10 years ago, I would have done things differently. So it's like, okay, here's your opportunity to make the changes before they become a problem. And that way you're basically indemnified against getting a disease. It's elegant and simple.
No, it absolutely is, because I was just thinking about it. I mean, nowadays we say, oh, cancer is such a lifestyle disease, but it's also about what we're ingesting, and the fact that a lot of us are not detoxing on a regular basis, and it's not part of our routine. So, then, as you mentioned, something happens and we're caught in the back end saying, man, I should have gone for a checkup ages ago. I should have known. I should have, paid attention to, lifestyle. Right. Well, you've been talking to me a little bit about a summit that you're having, and I feel like a lot of people would gain a lot from your summit. Could you just do the intro so that I can actually prep and share with everybody this beautiful summit that you're hosting this coming Monday? Well, it starts this Monday and it's for 9 days. Could you tell us a little bit about the summit?
It's called the Pet and Parent Longevity Summit. And this is a place where you can understand some of these 8 pillars. Just to clarify, it's not me leading these. I've collected experts from around the world. I'm co-hosting with an incredible human dietitian, functional medicine nutritionist, and she's been collecting people from the human health side of this, that holistic, natural approach to this kind of healing of the root causes and the life extension naturally, because nobody wants to be popping pills and having this sort of synthetic life. I don't think that's the right way forward. But let's do this the way the body is designed to do it, and then you're working in harmony with that. And the thing with that is what you do for you and what you can do for your pets is almost identical. So once you know one, you know it for both. It's just a few little fine details that you might tweak. So it's the Pet and Parent Longevity Summit. Experts from around the world are sharing their secrets, their discoveries, their research, their understanding of what has worked for their clinic, what has worked for their patients, where is the science showing that that longevity, sort of aging is optional, and what can we do about it? It's really, really practical. We're giving things to people to take home immediately and start doing today without a big cost investment or things like that. Now, the summit itself is free. There's no barrier to come and join us. We want to get that information out because we know how powerful it is. Now, I don't know if anyone listening has watched someone they love suffer from a disease or die too soon, but in that situation, you would do anything to change that scenario for them. You would do anything
Absolutely.
To wind back the clock and make a few different decisions. So we wanted to make this material available to everybody before that scenario comes up, so you can be more empowered to divert the track away from that and experience just more time together having fun rather than more time sitting at the bedside being upset and So the human experts will be talking about the human perspectives on longevity and what to do about diet for humans, or what to do about exercise and movement. And they're two different things as well. We lump them together, but they're two quite separate things. But then I've got experts in the animal field, the veterinary science and so on, who are going to be talking about it very specifically at the animal point of view. So you'll see the principles overlap every time. They're the same. But then our speakers are breaking down, here's what you do if you're human, here's what you do if you're pets, here's what you do. It's the same actually this time. Okay, no problem. We all have a piece of broccoli. Well, that's fine,
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do an intro into the Pet Summit. And, this just shows you a little bit about what they're going to be talking about and what they're going to be addressing. So let's have a listen in, and then we'll come back and talk some more with Penny.
Wouldn't it be amazing if I told you that your dogs could live to 20, your cats to 30, and you into your hundreds, all while thriving? Not only is this possible, but these are the lifespans we were meant to have. Welcome to the Pet and Parent Longevity Summit. I'm Dr. Zoolittle, a cognitive ethologist and longevity zoologist.
And I'm Katie Hadley, a functional medicine dietitian, and we are your summit hosts. Over these 9 days, we are bringing together experts from all over the world in the fields of human and animal longevity to share with you simple yet scientifically proven strategies to increase lifespan and vitality for you and your pets. They will cover everything from nutrition and movement to environmental factors and medical myth busting, so you can learn how to live younger longer together.
I know what it's like to love your pets so much that you never want them to leave you. To know from the very first day you welcome them home that they wouldn't live as long as other family members. Maybe like me, you've already had to say goodbye to pets you grew up with, and you'd do anything to push that day into the future, but only on the condition that they remain healthy and happy as well.
At the same time, many of us aren't living our best lives either. Perhaps you've seen loved ones lose their vitality as they age, or maybe you've struggled with your own health challenges. Thankfully, the science of longevity is redefining aging as we know it. By creating a lifestyle that fosters longevity, we can stave off chronic illness and live our best lives along the way.
Never before has anyone paired pet and human longevity together. For the very first time, discover that what you do for yourself to rewind the clock, you can do for your pets too. Our experts uncover how to live longer, whether you have 2 legs or 4.
This summit is our gift to you. It's completely free and you can join from the comfort of your own home. On this page, you'll see a button that says I'm in. Add your name and email, and we'll send you the access pass that is your ticket to the entire summit.
Imagine a month from now. Health niggles are fading away, your energy is skyrocketing, and your fur babies are playing like puppies and kittens again. Renewed vitality is restoring the sparkling health of youthfulness and increasing your longevity. So pop in your details and know that you've taken the very first step to giving you and your pets the incredible gift of more time together.
We can't wait to welcome you. Click to join us, and we'll see you on the other side.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, thank you so much for that. That's, I think that the summit is going to be really, I don't have a pet, not yet, but I feel like when I do, and when my son and I are ready for that platform, that will be a little bit more aware as to how to work it. So I'm going to first start with work on me, and then and then we'll be ready to kind of bring in the pets into the house. Right?
Right.
There was some. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, and the whole idea of this is to provide information. We're not here to be the longevity police or anything to tell you what you have to do. This is about, if you care, if you want to know more, listen, and then decide what's right for you, decide what works for you, decide what you think is interesting. And if none of it is, then no problem. I mean, that's totally your freedom to do so. But if it is helpful, then, that makes us feel great, because we want to be able to empower more than anything else.
Yeah. You were talking, there was something that you mentioned to me, and I just remembered that I really wanted you just to kind of emphasize on it a little bit, so that my friends who've got their little doggies out there, you'd spoken something about the claws and cutting their nails, cutting their claws off them. What is the benefit of that? I just have to put it out there so that it doesn't seem like animal right type of thing, but just please tell me a little bit about that.
It doesn't seem like a big deal. Like how does the length of a dog's claws make any difference? So let's just clarify for 1 second. We're talking about dogs here, because dogs don't have retractable claws the way cats do. So cats can pull theirs back. Never, ever, ever declaw a cat. This is not what we're talking about here. Declawing a cat is like taking your fingers off. It is a horrendous procedure. What we're talking about here is making sure that the nails themselves, the tips of the nails of dogs, are the appropriate length. So that's just like filing your own nails. We're not cutting any of the tissues or anything like that. So, but what happens is when a dog's nails touch the floor, you can see there that when they're making contact here, the nerves are sending signals back to the brain to tell the dog that they must be walking uphill, because they're making contact when they're not quite supposed to. Their toes should be, it's very hard for me to do with my human hands. Their toes should be obviously touching the floor, but their nails should just be a little bit above the ground. And that tells the dog that they're on the flat, and as accordingly, their body posture adjusts to being on the flat, and they stand square. When you stand square, things are balanced appropriately. There's no undue stress on one side or one limb of the body. Everything's as it should be. Now, we all know when we walk up a hill, we slightly adjust our center of gravity. We might lean forward a little bit or backwards a little bit. We might, because we're compensating for this incline. And when the dog is walking up a hill, naturally their claws are going to touch, just because of the shape of the paw, right? And then accordingly, they adjust their balance. But if they're standing on the flat and they're getting that same neuro signal going to the brain saying you're going up a hill, they will adjust their body posture while they're on the flat, and they will maintain that the whole time. So it's a good thing to be able to move and shift according, as long as we can go back to balance and natural. If you're always compensating for a particular thing, you're now building up strain and stress. Now things aren't mechanically working the way that they should, and it starts to create a problem. Over time, you end up with issues with the nerve signals, possibly nerves being pinched because things are out of alignment. Everyone knows that they've woken up with a crooked neck, that it's like, oh my gosh, I can't move my entire side. This is shooting down and all the things. So that's what we want to avoid. But that happens so easily, both from dogs wearing collars, and if you walk a dog from the collar, and they're pulling on that, it's starting to cause problems in the nerves that come down from the brain into the whole body to make the rest of the body work. So if you're walking your dog on a lead, always walk them from a harness that goes around their shoulders and their chest and pulls them from the sort of the center of the back rather than pulling from the neck. And you'll preserve not just the thyroid gland at the front here, but you'll also preserve the nerves at the back, both of which will massively increase longevity. But back to the claws again for a second. So when you have your nerves pinched and the signals aren't flowing properly down to your legs and all the rest of it, there you might start getting pins and needles. You might start getting funny sensations. The nerves might just say, listen, I'm so sick of feeling pain all the time, I'm just going to stop. And so you end up with dogs who nibble on their feet a lot because they're feeling these funny sensory, pins and needles things. And they like, oh, I can't sort of scratch it, so I'll nibble it. And so these are some of the signs to look to identify the problem. But
Yeah.
the big part of the equation is when the nerves are activated the wrong way, it sets the body to go into this emergency situation of flight or fright. So when we have a bad experience, our body is powered up automatically to suddenly get us out of that situation. We've got 20 minutes to save our lives, kind of thing, and everything is devoted to keeping us, alive, getting us out of that situation. That's a natural stress response, and that's really, really helpful. What we don't want to do is live in that place forever. So some of these nerves are controlling whether or not we live in that space or whether we live in the space of comfort, ease, relax, rest, digest, heal, all the good things. But if the nerves are kicking into the stress response all the time, then you're constantly living in a place of stress. Your cortisol is up, your adrenal glands are up, your ability to digest the food goes all the way down, your ability to sleep properly goes all the way down. All the things that regenerate your body and heal and optimize you are basically turned off, and that will massively shorten the lifespan.
Wow. Now, I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking about a lot of my friends who got their pets and the claws, and anyway. So this is really key information. I have a feeling that I'd love to speak with you after the summit is done, just to hear how it goes, and probably get in like maybe 2 or 3 guests from your summit, just to keep everybody else informed, where we can speak about humans and and their pets, and maybe get a couple of friends who've got their pets, and I'm sure they would even have bigger, more valid questions, in the sense of understanding and how they can also kind of change. But is there a link that you would like to share with us that I can put on the screen so that we could kind of push the summit to everyone else if they want to jump in on Monday?
It's incredibly easy to join. There's just one link. You just go there and click the box. There's no payment or anything. So you want to go to petandparentlongevity.com.
Petandparentlongevity.com.
That's it. And that up will come that video that you just saw before, and the space to pop your name in so that you get registered with us. And then you will have emails welcoming you in and the access links to listen to the talks.
Okay. Take the summit. So I'm just doing this while I'm multitasking. It gets harder and harder with age. Dear Lord. Petandparentlongevity.com. Is that correct?
That's the one.
Okay. So I appreciate you, Penny. I know I'm going to be having more talks and discussions with you. I think you've been absolutely fantastic. This is just the beginning, and I feel like there's going to be a lot more that we're going to be talking about. Do you have any final words that you want to leave us with before we say best of luck?
Thank you. Yeah, one thing that I would like people to remember is that no one cares about your health as much as you do. No one cares about your pet's health and well-being as much as you do. That's not to say that people don't. Of course they do. Doctors and vets are fantastic people. But you care more than they do about how your health and longevity is rolling out, and you care more about your pet than anyone in this world will. So it is on your shoulders to take responsibility, to make the decisions that will give you the outcomes you want, rather than abdicating that responsibility or that decision-making power to someone else who, well-intentioned, may not have all the information. While well-intentioned, just doesn't care as much as you do. While well-intentioned, it's their job, but this is your life. We're talking about, it's a different sort of set of stakes. So become empowered, learn the things that you can, adopt the ones that work for you. And there's always someone there to help you if you get stuck along the way. But no one should live in a place of suffering and decline, especially when it can be prevented so easily. We're not talking about thousands of dollars to get a special pill or something like that. We're talking about, let's just make a few little minor adjustments for a massive reward of, in a pet, you may be even able to double their lifespan. For you may be able to add, 10 or 20 years of good quality life, not, just stuck in bed, but good quality, active, engaging, fun life. And, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, no, it does. And I really appreciate that. Yes, nobody cares about my health better than me, or, for those who have a pet, better than you who loves your pet. So I would love for everybody to just go click into petandparentlongevity.com. Go and check out the summit. It starts this Monday. It's for 9 days. And you have morning sessions and afternoon sessions. You've got 18 guests. And for those who are that want more information, you have, for your VIP, it's $47, if I'm not correct. Am I right? About $47?
That's right.
And you walk away with a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah. So the information about that VIP option is on that same website. You'll be presented with the opportunity, if that's something that appeals to you, if you'd like to have all the additional facts and information, all the additional opportunities that come with that. Some of our speakers have been very generous in sharing some of their resources and things, so we're making that available to you if you decide to VIP. But there's no requirement to do so. You've got all access to the entire summit free of charge as well.
Okay. All right. So Penny, thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. And you're such a lovely person. And I can't wait. I'm going to check in. I'm definitely going to click in probably on Monday afternoon, not the morning, but the afternoon session. And I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to spread the word to anybody else who wants to come in and, get all the information that they can. And I really, really appreciate your time. It's been amazing. And I know that you've changed something for me. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Linda. I mean, that's all we can hope for, is that we can inspire others to have some information that may make a massive difference. It's been a joy to chat with you today. I mean, I can talk about animals forever. There's no problem about that. I would love to come back and go deeper into some of these things.
Please, let's do that. Yes, 100%. And this time I'm going to come in with quorum, because I could host up to 10 people on this platform. So for sure, I'm going to come in with quorum so that everybody gets, to have their word and their discussions and ask their questions. And I think it'll be so much more informative, especially when you have, our parent pet lovers, who would be here, and including me, who's trying to change a little bit of my lifestyle. But so appreciate you, Penny. Thank you very much, and best of luck on Monday. And yeah, everybody else, thank you so much for logging in. If you need any information, do let me know. You could comment below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, just let me know what you want to, if you have any questions. I'm happy to push them forward to Penny, and we're definitely going to be having her back. So thank you so very much, Penny. Next week, somebody new. Especially for you club lovers. Yeah. You're gonna want to listen to him. He's absolutely amazing. Anyway, thanks, Penny. Thank you so very much.
Thanks,
Guys,
Linda.
see you later. Thank you so much. Ciao. Have a beautiful day.